Probably get a little pop-up.
It says, got it or leave meeting. Which one should I do?
It's your choice. It'll be a very short recording. Magic. In that case, well, welcome to the podcast, Dan.
Hello.
It's been, a trial getting there in the first few minutes, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I'm sure it's been worse for other people. I've done these kind of things before, and I know that the older people can't really hack it.
I'm surprised the amount of young people who don't know how to use.
Really?
Yeah, it tends to be people who've avoided using computers, but have always lived on their phones.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll get a link.
We're in the middle. We're peak computer users. We are.
Yeah,
just the bloody smart device kids.
Yeah.
Can we swear on this?
Yes.
Fuck those kids.
I think I was saying this to another guest. We were in that unique generation gap where we did enough analog stuff that when things go wrong, we know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And we weren't presented with just like bubbles of tech.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the show. I've got some base questions as we'll go through, and we'll get through it. But I've got a very simple question to begin with, which is, who are you?
Hi, I'm Dan. My brother is a big YouTuber.
I see. I don't know you through your brother. That's the brilliant thing.
Do you not?
No.
God, this way. So this happened to me. I went into Primark the other day.
Right.
And someone went, "Oh my God, it's you." And I went, "Oh, do you think I'm Bill?" And she went, "I don't know who Bill is." And I was over the moon. I went out drinking and did karaoke on my own that night because I was so happy that this one person recognized me and didn't think I was my brother. Anyway, my name's Dan. I used to be a streamer on Twitch, and then I moved over to YouTube, and now I do crafting/comedy craft videos. And I own a sweet shop.
And you own a sweet shop. You have a very diverse background of things. Yeah, no, I found you. Well, I say I found you. I was shown you, like an exhibit. And a friend of mine had seen your Santa Claus sculpt, which you did.
Oh, right. Yeah, I've got it right here. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, sure.
It'll break now.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the tragedy of this. The thing I discovered you with suddenly just...
I'm aware I'm showing my midriff.
You edit that out? I can blur that out. That'll be fine.
Right.
There we go.
And we cut immediately to this. There he is. Yeah. The whole idea for this build was the tinsel.
That's where you started with it.
Well, I saw glittery pipe cleans. I thought that's the right scale for tinsel. So I'll build around that. And this mask, actually, I suppose.
The mask is probably my favorite part, I'll be honest. It's a glorious little mask. Yeah. It was over Christmas. A friend of mine, Zara, I'll give her a shout out, saw it and instantly thought of me and said, "Oh, you should watch this." And then I ended up in kind of like a little bit of a hole watching your various sculpts and kind of figuring out who you were, because I didn't know anything about your previous years streaming.
I think there's only about 12 videos, and the first few are rubbish. I think I'm finding my way now. I think by the time that Santa one came out and I did the little skit at the beginning, sitting on my stepdad's lap in the grotto, I think that's when I found my way.
Did you find it a hard transition then from kind of doing live stuff to just editing?
Well, the only problem was when I did streaming, it was comedy, like a lot of comedy and stuff, and like singing and joke singing and all this kind of stuff. And then when I came to YouTube, I found it quite stilted. Like I wasn't sure what the rules were, whether I should just sort of be, wholly crafting, just like, showing all the methods and being very serious. Because I don't know if you've watched any other crafting YouTubers, they're very serious. A lot of them.
They are very serious. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking, well, I started injecting a little bit of humour. I'll do this because I'm not so arrogant as to think it's hilarious or anything. And then just thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll go all the way.
Yeah. And
adding sketches and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of them a lot of them it's either one way or the other. It's either super serious and super technical, and then no, but at the same time they don't always explain everything they're doing. Or it's completely the opposite, and it'll just be a time lapse, and you'll miss everything.
I don't want to offend anybody, but I hate time lapse sculpting or crafting videos.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Because there are a million of them. I buy into the personalities. There's a lot of crafters that I like.
Yeah,
because there's personality there. It's just if I want to watch a time lapse, I find it anywhere. Anyone can do that.
Yeah,
well,
I like
maybe not anyone.
Techniques and just like little tips, like of how things
can be. I really want to chuck some of my own techniques in there, but they've all been done. It's finished.
You just give up now.
Well, there's a technique for everything now. I actually pointed this out in my last Q&A video. I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
I was unwell. And I didn't want to release a Q&A video because I imagine if I see someone else at like 5,000 releasing a Q&A, I think, what a wanker. But I was unwell and I had to release something. And I also had to plug something that's coming up later in the year. So I'm forgotten my point now. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying techniques. Yes, I was saying a lot of people will come up with techniques that are no better than the other technique, but it's a new video. I think, well, why? You could already this is the new paint. We've already got paint.
Yeah. You're one of these people. I mean, I'm terrible for this. If I start something or I have an idea for something, and then I'll look at how much it would cost me to buy the machine which you need to do it, or whatever the tool you need to do it, and I'll think to myself, I could probably do it cheaper. I could make it myself. So I spend about a month or two figuring out how to do it without that thing, and then realize I probably should just buy that thing.
I don't know. I mean, everything I do is cheap. I never buy. If it involves buying something, then I won't do it. Do you craft then, or do you make things? Or
so I do a bit of everything. Is the way I word it. So my main thing is kind of art in general. So like fine art painting, sculpture, illustration, all that kind of stuff. And then I interweave that with more just stuff for me, like cartoon bits and whatnot. And kind of, I think I said to you in the first email, I have aspiration of doing more sculpting stuff and miniature stuff and just kind of exploring that as like a medium and getting involved with that. So it's something which I've always done alongside everything else.
Yeah,
I guess because it's I don't know.
Are you into wargaming and all that kind of stuff?
I was in my youth.
I never was, and honestly, I'm not now. The wargaming videos I do is like when I make the miniatures, it's testing the water to see how much more popular those videos are than just making a horror sculpt, and they are. They're probably double as
That's interesting.
Which is annoying. So I've managed to sort of mix the two, make mini monsters, which is a shame because I'd be doing a lot better if I was doing a lot more wargaming stuff. But I'm just going to let it pick up momentum. There's no point doing it if I'm not enjoying it. So.
Well, yeah, that's what I always say. I mean, I as I said, I did wargaming as a kid, but I was never a person who was really into the painting side. I was very much. I had an orc army, and I painted them all green, and I was like, that's good enough. Off we go onto the field we go. But I had much more interest in kind of stop motion stuff and building sets and media and all that kind of thing. Which that's what piqued my interest and probably why my friend thought of you and thought of me and was like, oh, you'll like this.
Have you got any stop motion stuff floating about the internet?
I have one piece, but it is from you.
You'll have to send me the link.
I shall. I'm hoping to explore a bit more of it. I'm kind of within the coming year or so. Like when you get one of those ideas and you think to yourself, that's going to be a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And you keep putting it off because it's going to be a long process.
Don't do it.
Yeah. You just end up avoiding doing it. I mean, I was watching this morning, your kind of your showcase vid of the first ones you did.
That was another filler episode, yeah.
Everyone has a flashback episode once in a while. Even if you only got 4 or 5 videos.
Yeah.
You're saying that like that first sculpt took you like 4 months?
The Psycho House did, yeah.
Yeah.
We had just had a new kid, and it was in lockdown, and it was very difficult for a kid around. I'm assuming that's why. I'm sure I could do it in a couple of weeks now if I actually sat down and did it. But back then, plus it was learning everything, I suppose. I have actually picked up some techniques, though I did slag them off a second ago. Yeah,
Just
that Psycho
retract that
House.
statement.
Yeah, I gave that to my mother. That Psycho House. Yeah, boy's best friend is his mother. That's a quote from Psycho, by the way.
I'm well aware.
Okay, good.
I mean, obviously, you do a lot of horror stuff. It's for anyone who doesn't know your work.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen all this on the wall there.
I have. Is that where kind of like your? I mean, you said you didn't do war games or anything as a kid, but your interest was in horror. Is that how you got into this?
When I say I didn't do any, I made some terrain as a kid. Like you'd always do the Pringle tube hut and things. I remember having miniatures, but never actually playing anything,
right?
Or not properly anyway. So yeah, I think I've probably watched my first horror film when I was about 6. My mother would rent them from the video shop, leave them out, so when we wake up in the morning, we'd play the video before she got out of bed. I think Puppet Master was one of the first. I don't know if you've ever seen Puppet Master or any of the Puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now. Scary to a 6-year-old when you're surrounded by toys.
And yet they made Toy Story. And
yeah,
it was
the same thing, isn't it?
It's basically the same thing. I don't know how someone can watch Toy Story and not be scared.
It's a shy Puppet Master. They don't move when anyone's around.
You just throw Randy Newman on anything and it softens the tone of whatever you're watching.
Yeah, I just like horror. I don't really know why. I do feel like I'm kind of got stuck in a rut with the horror stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think YouTube punishes you for changing mid-flow. They don't want you to do anything different. So I don't know if I can ever veer off of it now. That's all right. I mean, I'm doing one right now. It doesn't really make much sense. This is the next video. It's kind of an amorphous blob at the minute.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. It looks horror-ish.
Yeah. It's got like a coral.
Like it does look a bit like coral, yeah. Not supposed to, but it does.
I don't think I don't think I've seen a lot of horrors which take place in the ocean. Like it's usually like things from the ocean coming on land.
There's a couple. There's I think Sphere is technically horror. Technically, you got Leviathan, Ernie Hudson. A few of them. Sorry about that. That phone just vibrated. And I think that's it.
Yeah. So I'm
we got a lot on boats.
Yes. Yeah.
On boats, not yeah. But there's not much coral in them.
Again, it's things coming on land. We're terrified of things coming from places where they're not meant to come from.
Yeah, old Cthulhu, that's the Dagon, all that stuff. We're not allowed to say Lovecraftian anymore. I think I discovered on I don't know if you saw my Cosmic Horror video. I think people saying, "Oh, we don't talk about Lovecraft anymore." He was a massive racist.
He was a massive racist.
I watched a documentary about.
Yeah.
I mean, people tend to overlook it because they like the board games. So it's all right if he's a racist because I spent 80 quid on Call of Cthulhu or whatever.
Yeah, it's I don't know if that's like maybe more of our generation of. I find it's harder to find stuff now because there's a certain edge of you kind of you find something you're like, oh, this is really cool. I like this. I'll have to do a quick Google of the creator just to make sure they haven't done something terrible.
Well, separate the art from the artist. A lot of people have said to me.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, Graham Linehan, do you know him, Father Ted guy?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I still find Father Ted hilarious, and I'm not going to not find it hilarious just because Graham Linehan's an arsehole.
Yeah.
And everybody still watches Harry Potter. Yeah, that's Graham Linehan as well. Yeah. Yeah, Black Books is great. Everybody watches Harry Potter. Nobody's bloody given up their tickets to Harry Potter World because J.K. Rowling's a bit massive cow.
No. Ironically, though, actually, when I was thinking about sculpting the other day, so I own this pin, which is, I don't know if you can see what it is, a little key.
Yeah.
So it's from Harry Potter World. It's a Gringotts key, and I've had it on my coat for years and years because it was one of those things I did back like 2017, 2016. And I took it off my coat the other day because of the whole J.K. Rowling,
Yeah.
I
suppose that's different though, because it's kind of if you're walking around with that badge on, it's like.
Yeah. But then my first thought was I should keep it but modify it. And I should make it into anything else, just a sense of I've already paid for this. I've already spent the money, they've already got the money. So if I can modify it into something, cool, or like a little eye or like a little industrial like trinket and remove the branding, I'll feel better about it and I'll have gotten some catharsis out of it.
Like, she still got a cut of the money.
She did. She got my £2.50.
Yeah, well, you have to. If you go back, every bloody popular artist has done something wrong. You can't. We'd have nothing left. There'd be nothing left.
No, I do think, like you say, you have to do a level of separate art from artists, but I think it's more like a personal level as well. I think it's down to you what you do pick and choose.
Yeah,
I mean, I've essentially started avoiding Kevin Spacey films because
that's a shame. He's done some good ones though.
He does. I mean, he's done some of my favorite films. Star Kevin Spacey, American Beauty, Seven, and we were having the conversation the other day. If you didn't know he was in Seven, and you were avoiding Kevin Spacey films, and then 40 minutes in, he suddenly appears on screen. Okay, I can't enjoy this film anymore.
Also, he's the voice of the computer in Moon. Moon's a great film. Not allowed to watch that now. Thing is, the Hogwarts game came out recently, and everybody was boycotting it. But then I was having this discussion with someone else who does a podcast actually, and they were saying, but there was thousands of people that made that game. Thousands of people have put their bloody heart and soul into that thing, and they're not arseholes. And it's the same with the films as well. The director, the writer, and all that stuff. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah,
it depends.
I think that's a big conversation. I think I've had that conversation with another friend who we were both like, we can see both sides. You don't want to support, you don't want to be on that side, but at the same time, there's, like you say, thousands of engineers, QA developers have all put their time and effort into this, and we don't want them to not get paid.
Yeah,
because of the decisions of one shit person.
Like a Kevin Spacey film now, Kevin Spacey's not going to make any money from that, is he? I don't imagine actors get royalties, really. Do they?
I think they do. I think royalties are still a thing. Yeah. It's not like YouTube where they don't pay you anything.
Hold on, I made £50 in ad revenue. Yeah, I mean, they can't give every actor. I suppose they sort of make the bargain at the beginning, like a share or whatever. But I'm just wondering.
I imagine it's like tiny, like a few pence a watch, and then it accumulates depending on.
Maybe.
I mean, I'd buy DVDs from CEX. So
it's a shame. I've recently got right into my Arrow horror Blu-rays, and CEX has been a godsend to me. Although I did order one yesterday, and it came the other day, and it came yesterday. And do you know Arrow Video? They do the special horrors that have a lot of features and things, reversible covers. I ordered American Werewolf in London Arrow Blu-ray, and it was a regular American Werewolf in London in an Arrow Blu-ray case. I was absolutely fuming. I thought I did not pay for this. And now I have to take it into a CEX store. I bought it online and just say, look, are they going to believe me?
There's an honesty level there where you don't know what to expect. I worked in HMV for a short while, and we had a guy come in with a bag of DVDs, about 10 DVDs, in a CEX paper bag, tell me that he'd bought them from HMV, even though they were all open and all had CEX labels on them, and ask for a refund.
Did you say no?
I didn't say no.
He had a very honest face.
I had a very honest face for a receipt, and he could not provide a receipt. And I was like, well, I'm afraid I can't do anything for you right now.
But I have an invoice for this Blu-ray. You can call me anal, but it's a collection because I just sold hundreds, like 1,000 Blu-rays, and just kept these ones. So how are they going to know that I've not just taken the disc out and put another one in? And I don't have a very trustworthy face either.
No, you don't think?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You got quite a trustworthy voice.
Yeah, well, I'll do it over the phone. My good man, I bought this Blu-ray online.
I've been trying to place your accent of whereabouts you're from.
Oh, go on, you guess. I want to hear you guess.
Well, I thought Norwich.
No.
Okay.
Although I feel like it's my spiritual home.
Okay.
Norwich. I don't know if you know of Stuart Ashton, the YouTuber. He's got a couple of films. We're really good friends. Being him, I've stayed there a few times. And if I didn't have a daughter at this end, I'd probably move there. No, I'm from Dagenham.
Dagenham.
You heard of Dagenham?
I've heard of Dagenham, but I have no idea where Dagenham is.
Probably read the headlines. A lot of stabbings.
Well, I'm originally from Scunthorpe, so.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Scunthorpe.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone said Scunthorpe for the wrong reasons.
People say you don't sound like you're from Dagenham. I say, well, television raised me. I didn't go outside.
Right.
Yeah.
So you adapted that.
Must have watched a lot of news programs.
From the lilting voices in horror films, a bit too much.
Yeah.
Vincent Price. And...
honestly, I think my voice was a bit different when I started streaming, but that was about 6 years ago. And kind of got into the performing mode as the years have gone on. And then thought, well, I'll bloody do it all the time. Nobody does any different now. Yeah. Whereas if I was to speak normal, it's like this, isn't it? Yeah. C-U-N-T. I won't say it.
I find that's interesting though, watching how people change when they do start creating content and put themselves on screen. I mean, I'm no different from it. When I first started out, I was making vlogs, and back when YouTube was small and people were doing daily vlogs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I started off with that, and when I watch them back now, I'm sat thinking, this wasn't you at this time. This is just a character you've created for yourself, and you're now performing that character.
Yeah, well, we all do, don't we? I suppose we all perform. I think if you look at me now, and if you were to meet me in that sweet shop, I'm a completely different person.
Right.
I'm a horrible, grumpy man in that sweet shop.
That's what sweet shops are designed for, right?
Yeah, but I had the worst ever day yesterday working in that shop. I just felt like I really do not. I only do 2 days a week.
Right.
And I really didn't want to be the yesterday. And every old person wanted to talk to me. And I thought, what is it about my face, this really miserable face, that makes you think I want to talk to you about everything?
Maybe they relate. They're like secretly all grumpy. Just
well, they're not. They always
understands. That young man understands behind the counter.
They always assume I'm my mother's husband because she works there as well.
Okay.
Really, really pisses me off. They're like, "Oh, your wife? Do you mean my mum?" Really annoys me because my ex and I own the shop, and she works there as well. No one ever thought I was partners with her. They were sort of partners with my mum. It's a family business, sort of, because we all work there. But yeah, that place does nothing for my self-esteem.
No, I can imagine. I've worked in retail, and it's not.
No, I'm not designed for it.
No. I always actually, it's weird though. I always say retails are worse and customer facing jobs are the worst, but I feel like I'm not, like, this sounds like a tangent. I'm not saying we bring back conscription for like a year like they used to, but I feel like everyone should do a year in retail.
Yeah.
Like every person should have to do a year in retail.
To empathize. Yeah.
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 Just to fill that gap.
And the thing with sweet shops as well is it's not just, you said you worked in H&V. Somebody would just walk up to the counter and give you something, give you the money. You give them the change, they're gone. Sweet shops, imagine you're standing where you are. Someone comes up to you right in your face for a good 5 minutes. That, and then they're like, oh, can I have one from there, one from there, one from there? There's so many things that piss you off in a sweet shop. It's not just, here, I want to buy this, good day. You're very lucky if that happens. And they're all like, oh, I remember when it was quarters and ounces. I'm like, yeah, metric system makes much more sense though, doesn't it?
It does. But they're getting rid of it, aren't they? So,
well, the metric.
Well, there was a whole thing about, because I mean, this is a very British podcast right now. If there was a whole thing about Brexit and EU and how we were forced to use metric by the EU, so they're going to allow people to use the old, and there were people up in uproar about it, saying, "Oh yes, this is great. We're claiming Britain back," instead of just accepting that this is just a better way to measure things.
It's a much better way to measure everything. I'll have 2 Flemings and a vase of gummy bears, please. He's like, what the fuck is all this? They're all different things. Nothing adds up.
I mean, I recently, so I'm living in the US right now.
Are you?
So yeah. So I'm based in New Jersey. I only moved here July last year. So
I should have said candy shop.
A candy shop. I was going to say, like, this is a very British podcast because I feel like an American has no idea what a sweet shop is, especially not one where you have to request things. It would all be on display and automated and available in large vats.
The people who watch my stream, a lot of them are American, so they kind of. I used to stream from the sweet shop live, like as I was serving customers, so they learned what a sweet shop was, how shit it is.
Yeah. Well, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so obviously moving out to the US, they don't use standardized measurements that I've grown up with, so I'm dealing with learning what cups of things are and everything. Like, I go buy drinks and they're in ounces.
Yeah, we do sell the American stuff, and like you got the Kool-Aid saying 2. It's a measurement, but we got it wrong when we tried to eat the Kool-Aid. It said something, we assumed it was this, it wasn't, and it was just incredibly weak. Do you know what the measurement would be for Kool-Aid? It's like,
it'd be cups. It'd have to be, or it'd be like a quart or
a quart. I think it was a quart. Yeah, something like that. Either way, we got it wrong.
It's tragic. It comes back around of just kind of the differences in culture, but also just what you used to.
Well, I think numbers are the same everywhere. Mathematics is the language of every single nation on the planet. Yeah, it should be the same with measurements and distances and all that stuff. It should all be metric.
Yeah.
Call me a monster.
Standardize the world then.
Yep. Yeah. We should all have the same haircuts and wear the same clothes.
Is this why you build things then? Are you trying to control everything?
Yes, I have to control. Yeah.
I had this the other day actually, because I was thinking about making my own things and thinking about this chat coming up with you, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but when it comes to crafting, sculpting, making things, it almost seems like it's a very midlife crisis thing for people of our age.
Yeah, probably right.
At some point, we just feel like we've lost control of everything. You know what? I could make something small. I could look after him. Yeah. I feel
like the wargaming scene is more the midlife crisis thing. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
So young with the wargaming.
Yeah, and then you lose it, and then you become 50, and you think, where's it all gone? And then you go to Games Workshop. Think, God, it never used to cost this much.
No, it's amazing how much those things cost.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've always drawn and made things all through my life and stuff. I was a graphic artist for a while.
I was going to say, you can't have just started this and been this good this quick. You have to have been doing stuff before.
No, I was a graphic artist for a little while. I found that when people paid me to draw things, I didn't want to do them. So I didn't do that for very long. But the only reason I got into sculpting was because I didn't realise there was such a thing as polymer clay, and it wasn't that expensive.
No.
Yeah. And it was during lockdown. Everyone picked up a hobby during lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started streaming during lockdown, which I'd never done before.
Did you?
Yeah, so for lockdown, I essentially started doing a daily stream. The whole idea was to give people kind of like a space just to speak to somebody, because it was obviously very isolating during lockdown, and living like that. And I lived on night shift for most of my career for 7 years or so. So I was kind of fairly used to isolation. So I started doing these daily streams where I'd sit and draw and whatnot, and I ended up doing it for about a year.
What was that, on Twitch or YouTube?
So it wasn't on YouTube. It was on Twitch, and I used Arpan, which was a thing on Reddit for a short period of time, and Instagram. I set up three cameras and went for 30 minutes a day, and
Did it go well on Twitch? Twitch is very hard to get traction.
Oh, I didn't get anyone on Twitch. I don't think people on
No.
Twitch wanted to see what I was doing.
No, well, no, it's not that. It's just Twitch discoverability on Twitch is nigh impossible. I can't remember how I managed to sort of take off. I mean, I only got to around an average of 100 viewers, which is very good. That's in the top 0.05, but that took 5 years, and I gave it all up like an idiot. But the only reason I got there, I don't know if you know of a Scottish comedian called Limmy.
Yeah, I know
Limmy Show. He started raiding me in the sweet shop. And that's what kind of got the ball rolling there. We've since fallen out, but he did get me started. And then, like, knowing Ashens as well, I met him through Twitch and we became friends. So it's just who you know, it's who you blow.
That's interesting, though. Like, it's weird to me that so much of online stuff is still in that structure of it's, networking connections, knowing who you know. To me, that's a very old world business way of doing things. You meet such and such banker in one thing, and it's just all the same.
No one will ever find you unless somebody sort of points everybody at you.
Yeah,
it's the same with YouTube, I think. I mean,
most
Bill got yeah. Same with everything.
You gotta have the right people. I think I don't know if that's better or worse. I mean, Arpan was interesting as a Twitch experiment. Essentially, it allowed you live streaming, and it was very discoverable. Because
what is that? I don't know what that is.
So Reddit hosted its own public streaming platform for about 2 years called Arpan. Essentially, it was much like Instagram Live. You just turned on your phone, but through the Reddit app, and it would host you, and you could pick a topic and do whatever you wanted on stream as you would. But their unique thing was that they would push streams at random to their front page. So you were always being shown to people, which allowed you kind of a bit more engagement. So even if one day you'd only get 10 viewers, other days you'd have 1,000. And it would come out of nowhere because someone on Reddit just went, oh, that person's going front page today. And away you go. But they recently closed it down.
See, on Twitch, the front page thing is all sort of bribes and things.
Yeah,
I think if you're doing like a special promotional thing, they'll get in touch with Twitch, and then you're on the front page.
Yeah,
I know that happened with. Do you know Ian Lee?
No, I don't know.
He used to have the 11 o'clock show on Channel 4. I think he used to do a few computer game shows as well. Anyway, he's on Twitch, and we kind of met up and stuff. And he got pushed to the front because I think he got paid to do it, or got a contract or something from someone, and then was pushed to the front. And then the second he wasn't on the front page, his jobs went straight back down again. Yeah, it's just a cruel mistress. Is Twitch. Yeah, and then you got
online
yeah. Well, if you don't want a real job, you got to put up with it. But I don't want a real job.
I mean, that's a good question of just then why we do what we do. I mean, we both know that the internet and everything is fickle, and most people are extremely negative whenever they encounter you because that's how they've been taught to treat people on the internet. Why keep going? Why still create things?
You say that YouTube has been massively positive.
Yeah.
I know you have the option to sort of not get the negative comments, but I don't think there's really been any that haven't made that have been filtered out. YouTube has been really but maybe that's just because I've come from Twitch, which is full of trolls and a-holes.
So it just seems nice.
Yeah, maybe. I think I don't know about you, but this is a really pretentious answer. I have to be creative, and if I can get paid in some kind of way for being creative, then that's all I want. It's brilliant.
Maybe that just means I'm extremely pretentious because
I mean, I said it. I'm the one who said it. So I don't know if it is pretentious or not. I mean, you say it to certain generations, and they're like, "Oh, go out and work in the factory." You're like, "What factory?" I don't know. It's just a factory.
I love that conversation. It's one of my favorite things to do is meet people in their 60s and 70s, discuss with them what you do and what you're interested in, and just watch them try to tear you down.
Yeah,
because I feel like our generation just doesn't care. We'll just do what we want to do anyway, or whatever anyone says. And I had a conversation. I think I had a conversation with my dad, and we can't remember what we're doing. He's extremely supportive, very great relationship with my dad. But he said to me one day, "I was like, when are you going to grow up?" And I said to him, why would I want to grow up to what you're doing? Because you're older and you're miserable.
Yeah,
Like, you know, if I keep these little things which make me happy, these little bits of nonsense and, you know, creation, and that keeps me happy, then why would I want to give any of that up?
yeah. Well, I think my stepdad said took me and my brother aside and said, "Well, look, I'll be honest, you're both a bit weird." And what? Because we don't like football. We're weird. I was really flummoxed. I think I was about 16. I thought, where's this come from? Are we weird? We're not now. I don't think we are. Not compared to, I mean, everybody's like this now, aren't they? This generation, I think. Pretty much.
Standard.
Pretty much. I'd say like 50-50. Come on.
I don't know. Are we not counterculture anymore? We descended that in our generation. Now it's just this.
I think it is. I think for the most part, I think the people in high vises in white vans are the minority now. Possibly. I don't know.
Like, I hope.
But we do need to get our plumbing done and electrics and stuff like that. Yeah.
I feel like Marvel played a big part in watering down that group of people. Because suddenly all of them were into superheroes. And it revealed that little bit which they'd been hiding. And they'd been going, oh, you know, I'm not into these silly cartoons and things. And then Marvel came out and went, oh, maybe I could be into.
And you feel like saying to them, look, this is what it was the whole time. This is what it was. They've just had to make these massive films for you to realise that everybody likes this stuff. And it has to be cool for you to like it. But we've been enjoying this shit for years. More for you.
You just had to throw some action heroes, some pecs, and some, you know.
I was just going to say some six packs, yeah.
Yeah, some six packs into it. And suddenly, over they go.
Yeah.
Thor was the linchpin. That's how they should have done that years ago. Could have saved a lot of beatings in schoolyards. Putting some pecs into films.
Yeah. I think though people do sort of wear it as a badge now. Like I watch Marvel films, so I'm a nerd or a geek, just like you lot, in their Ben Sherman shirts in the middle of a nightclub, drinking their Bacardi Breeze or whatever. Yeah. I'm a nerd.
It's ruined some things. I think well, maybe not ruined not the right word, but it's taken some bits away which we, you know, nerds and geeks as well, we can be quite protective of the things which we like because we worry so much about being, you know, torn down by other people. So when other people got into comics and suddenly, like, you know, your bully was suddenly very well versed on Iron Man, I think that was a worry. But at the same time, it's given me a nice in when speaking to anyone like that to just go, well, we don't have to talk about football today. I don't have to lie and, you know, pretend I know what I'm talking about. I can just be like, oh, you've seen this Marvel film, knowing they probably have, and away with them.
Yeah, people get a lot more of our references now. Are you a football fan?
I'm not. I'm one of those.
No. Did you try? Did you try? Because you felt like you had to.
I tried when I was maybe 9 or 10. I was when I was 9 or 10, I'm mainly into drawing. That was my deal. You know, I was the weird kid into drawing, overweight. You know, sit on my own and draw. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I do nowadays. And I literally picked a football team.
Yeah,
with my brother, sat there and I went, "What football team should I like?"
You go for the nice colours.
And I went with Chelsea because it was blue. And I even got some pajamas with Chelsea on because I was like, I'm going to go full haul into this. I'm going to get it. I joined the after school football club. I went twice and then I never went again.
And did you go home and say, do you love me now, Dad? Do you love me now? In your football show?
My dad hates football as well. So there's no one in my family who's into football. But I was like, I need to get in with the kids at school. You know, I need to
just kind of, if you go head first, then maybe you'll see what the fuss is.
Yeah.
Me and my brother got dropped off at like a football lesson.
Okay.
And we didn't go in. We hid around the back of the building looking at a puddle and noticed all these little tiny creatures in the puddle. You would not believe how angry my dad was when he picked us up.
Well, yeah.
God, he was furious. I mean, it can't have cost much. It's probably like £2 back in those days. But yeah, Just the fact that we'd rather look at tiny things in puddles than play football.
Yeah.
Still would.
I still meet people over here who are shocked that I don't like football. Because it's the
English
stereotype.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what's your favorite football team? I don't watch football. Like, what are you on about? I'm like, I literally couldn't care about it any less. World Cup, not even into the World Cup. Like,
No. I mean, I give that a go. The best thing about the World Cup this year was that KFC were doing a special football bucket, and you got a shit ton of chicken in there. It was a good deal. And there was plenty left over. Yeah. Thank God for the World Cup.
The only thing I like about the World Cup, and it's the same with any big sporting event, is it's the only time I gamble. Because I don't know anything about any of them.
Yeah.
I don't have a prejudice to one team or another. So I actually can look at the thing, like the odds, and go, oh, I'll put some money, like put a $5 on that. And then I win a little bit of money. I won
did you win?
50 quid on the World Cup before.
Yeah. Who did you put your money on? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It was about 10 years ago. But yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like, and when people get super excited about these things and these games and whatnot, and I'm like, I mean, at least if I've got a little bit of money on it, I'm slightly invested.
Yeah. I can imagine being excited if you got a bet on it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I don't gamble. I used to work in Corals, the bookmakers.
All right.
Puts you right off, that does.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a social club, those places. A lot of the older people just sort of come in and sit down and chat and stuff, and get their free teas and coffees.
You get free tea and coffee?
Well, the regulars did, and it's only because the manager of the place would give them. I mean, I wouldn't give them coffee or tea.
I mean, that is the way to get me anywhere, is just offer me free tea and coffee. And I could be into football if they offered me free tea and coffee.
Get your local bookies. They don't really have bookies in America, do they? Or they're all mafia bosses, aren't they? Mafia run bookies.
I'm not entirely sure, because like there's different gambling laws state to state. Like there's casinos in some, but not in other ones. So I think it really varies. I'm not quite sure of the law.
Do you say you're in New Jersey or New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Yeah. I imagine it's mafia run, all the gambling there.
Bunch of Italians.
If the films are anything to go by.
Well, maybe this is, we have a stereotype of football. Maybe there's actually no mafia here. He says, full well knowing there's a deli around the corner which is covered in gangster photographs.
Is it Satriani's or whatever it's called from bloody Sopranos? It's New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Sinatra was born where I am, so it's got that vibe as well, and everyone's very proud of those things.
How comes you moved to America then? Did you meet someone or?
No, so my work outside of my making nonsense offered me a position, and I went, I'll go for a ride. I've got no tie in the UK at the moment, so I'll go out and do other things.
It's exactly the kind of thing I could do if I didn't have a 5-year-old just pinning me down.
Oh, I have a 5-year-old, just left it behind.
Yeah, you can do that, can you?
No, I don't have children. For the record, I've never abandoned a child, which was my own. It's very,
and
very
I never
cool.
will. I never will, for the record.
Yeah, just for the legal requirements and the lawyers at the later stage of my life, I never will abandon my own child.
And I'm only saying this because I don't think she listens to podcasts, so I don't think she'll hear me say she's pinning me down.
No. But I mean, there's a level of that with every family anyway, right? We all pin down our parents at one point or another.
Well, when she's 16, I'm buggering off.
Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere, probably Norwich, since I fit in with the accent.
I don't know what it is about it. I was listening to it and I was just like, I just couldn't figure out what you.
Oh, you know what it is? It's because I sometimes do a borderline Alan Partridge impression. He's Norwich.
Yeah, he's Norwich.
Yeah. I did that as a joke, and then it kind of took me over a little bit.
Is it the kind of thing you find yourself doing around your house?
What, Alan Partridge impressions?
Oh, yeah, just like impressioning things. I find I do that. I'll put on voices when I'm doing random things.
Yeah, it's often Christopher Walken a lot when the house is empty because it's quite loud, a bit shouty. Yeah, I used to do a lot of impressions for the stream. I'd have this whole bit called the audition hour, I think it was, where people would suggest 2 celebrities and a scene, and then using my Stream Deck, I would switch sides of the camera and have conversations with myself as these characters. It was quite good. It was quite fun. I used to have a drink. And, when people were chucking bits and money here, that, it's going pretty well. Often ended up being Terry Wogan and Janet Street Porter a lot, which got on my nerves. But especially Janet Street Porter. God, I hate doing that.
That's a grating accent.
Because it's a lot of teeth with Janet.
Yeah.
And then somebody said Janet Street Porter and Gary Busey, which is also a lot of teeth. It's just a lot of this. Gary Busey. Janet Street Porter is just a lot of that back and forth. And they do it to annoy you. They do it on purpose.
Yeah. They find the thing that you don't want to do. And then that's the thing you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Hopefully YouTube's not that way. Hopefully.
I haven't tried. I'm considering streaming on there, but I've heard it's a much nicer place, much more laid back. I said, I don't know what the rules are, what you can get away with. I could get away with a lot on Twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a whole segment where I'd play a porno clip, but I wouldn't show anybody.
Right.
But I would it's called audio porn, where you're not allowed, you can listen to porn, you can't watch it, but I would narrate over the top of it as Alan Partridge. And that went pretty well. But then I kind of felt like I don't really want to download any porn and put it on my computer anymore. So I thought I better, I did about 2 of those.
Yeah,
it went well though. He's inserted his penis now. It's fully erect. She loves it. She's enjoying herself. I think it's just a lot of that.
I think you reminded me. I think one of the reasons I started watching your videos and enjoying them is we have a very similar sense of humor, but I think our sense of humor is also very based on the fact that we're from England.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why like Americans enjoy watching us, because they're not used to this like level of just kind of deadpan as well.
Yeah, dry, very dry.
Which,
I'm always surprised to see an American channel that has a dry sense of humor. There's a couple.
No.
I did Boyle Hobby Time. I mentioned that his sense of humor was quite dry, but there's not many. And it's a shame. Well, I mean, they do like dry humor, don't they? I mean, they got The Office and stuff, and I mean, our shows do well over there. They do tend to Americanize a lot of them, but they do well initially to get their own shows like The Office and what else has gone over? Red Dwarf.
Yeah, they did.
That was terrible.
They did 1 episode or something of Red Dwarf.
Yeah. Craig Burko, I think his name is, isn't it? He's a good actor. He's in a few things.
They love Doctor Who. Found.
Do they?
They love that. They love it all. It's such a strange thing because you think it's not gonna translate, but then they get hold of it and they love it. They love the kitsch of it, the DIY, the deadpanness of it all.
I was gonna say I didn't think it looked professional enough for an American audience. We kind of sort of make do and think, oh, that's the BBC's budget. But over there, I'm thinking they got Apple TV and shit. So are they happy with like this plasticine and crap?
I mean, they have to be, right? I think maybe that's sort of the issue with kind of platforms and stuff. Is just that most of these platforms are American, so they start off with kind of the glitz, the glamour, the very ego, expressive, extrovert, platform like YouTube. Every front page is full of people dancing, full of people doing their thing and putting themselves on camera, and then when they do find something which is not that, they're very taken by it because they're like, oh, yeah, that's the thing. So maybe they are creating that kind of stuff. We just never see it as well because they don't have to break through that crust.
Are you a YouTube? Are you a Doctor Who fan?
I'm not. I'm maybe there was only 1 season or maybe 2 seasons when Christopher Eccleston came in and they did the reboot. And I think that was maybe
for like 2, wasn't
he? Yeah, I think that was more just I like Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, I watched them because I almost felt obliged to watch them. And I have a friend who's in the first episode of, is it Jodie Whittaker? Is she the female Doctor Who?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He was in the first episode of that, so I thought, oh, I better watch them all to catch up with it, and then sort of gave up. Because it just really felt like a chore. I know people, I've got friends that absolutely love it, and they read all the fan fiction stuff, and I thought, God,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll talk to you about other things. I'm not going to talk to you about bloody Doctor Who.
Do they still keep going with the kind of the make, do, and mend style? Or has it progressed now that CG's started replacing everything?
I think they're chucking quite a lot of money into it now. I think it's pretty fancy, especially for BBC.
I feel like that DIY aesthetic is a very, very UK thing. Like we mentioned, Red Dwarf. It didn't look great at times.
Red Dwarf looks great. I think Red Dwarf looks great.
There's some moments in it.
It's the perfect aesthetic, that show. It works perfectly with the humour, I think. A perfect time for that show to come out. I'm a big Red Dwarf fan. But Doctor Who, it's like it doesn't have colour grading, or if it does, it has too much. Like everything is just very colourful. Just chuck loads of colours and shapes. There's no sort of atmosphere to it or anything. The people are going to hate me for saying this. Fuck them. What Doctor Who fans going to do? Come at me with their bloody magic screwdrivers.
I think they have to appreciate that. I think that's why they like it, and even if they don't admit
I think they do. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
They'll say they like it for the writing or the plot holes or anything like that. It's like, no, you appreciate that it's not great.
Yeah. Well, the diehard fans love the older stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Bertie Bassett's type monster, the sweet monster? People kept sending that to me. It's just like a monster that's made out of sweets, like licorice all sorts.
Right.
Yeah.
You've not brought your two passions of sweets and modelling together then to recreate Bertie Bassett.
Well, that's the caliber of Doctor Who there. The licorice all sorts, man.
Like a lot of monsters get based on foodstuffs in the end. Again, we're just terrified of things doing things they're not meant to do.
Yeah. I'm just not a big fan of licorice. So I'll be like, oh, go away. Stop it.
It's just like the most UK reaction to a monster. Just like, go away. Give over.
I've had my lunch.
Yeah. That'll be, it's not good for me. You'll rot me teeth. Go away.
I'll have to see some of your artwork after this.
Yeah.
If you've got any available, I'd like to see it.
I have a fair amount available in various places.
So what is your day job then?
So I don't talk about my day job. Not on podcast.
And you bloody got me to tell you everything.
I mean, that's the way this works, right? I find someone, I grill them for about an hour. So the basic answer for what I do and what I answer whenever I'm kind of on stream or whatnot is just that I work for software. So I'm held under like a lot of NDAs and stuff like that. But I always see it as that's what I do to make money. And that's what gets me through my day to day and gives me a place to live. And then everything else I do is the important stuff.
Yeah. So the important stuff is what I'm hoping to make money from. Otherwise, I'm fucked.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dream, though, right?
Yeah. I know it's a marathon, not a sprint. I was always good at long distance at school. Yeah. I remember I'm not a particularly athletic person, but we in the seniors they took us all over to a running track, and there was all the jocks. They'd pit 4 of the students against each other in like a 100-meter sprint, and there was like me, like a sort of whelp kid, like a weedy kid, like a small kid, and then there was 2 bullies,
right?
And the bullies were looking down the line thinking, yeah, we got this. And I beat them. And that was the best day of my life. That's as jockey as I get. I'm quite tall, though. That's the thing. They didn't count for that. They didn't account for the fact that I've run away a lot.
Yes. They always underestimate the taller, I was slightly heavier as a youth. They always underestimate that you've had to run a fair few times. So you get used to it.
Yeah. I'm 39, and that's one of the best moments of my life. God,
still plenty of time to make more memories.
Yeah. Is there? My heart hurts a bit. It's already hurting a bit.
That's just existing, right? It's meant to hurt, isn't it? Or have I been doing this wrong?
I watched The Wow last night. Have you the Wow of Brendan Fraser, where he's morbidly obese. Oh, it's
Oh,
the new
the whale. Yeah.
Wow,
Sorry.
yeah. I watched that last night, and while I was watching it, I ate 2 giant cookies and a donut. And I thought this one's not putting me off at all. If anything, it's making me feel like I've got a bit of a way to go.
I mean, I watched Super Size Me eating McDonald's, and I felt terrible at the end of that, and just mainly because the food was awful. But
Yeah.
it's
I remember buying that DVD back when we used to buy DVDs, Supersized Me and a bag of Jelly Babies, and that was my afternoon. I got a particularly fond
good
memory
afternoon.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got shown it in school. It was one of those things where they sat us down in one of the the social studies or whatever you call it, PSE, or they kept rebranding it when I was going through school, and they were like, "We're going to watch this documentary," and everyone's like, "Oh, great, a documentary." And then it was actually good. The same with Bowling for Columbine. They did exactly the same thing. Just sat us down and showed a documentary.
Did go through my documentary phase, Bowling for Columbine. I think that was it. No, there are some
Just
others.
that one. Just that one.
Yeah,
There's some good documentaries.
King of Kong. Have you seen that one about the
Rings a
arcade
bell.
guy?
Yes, I have seen that one.
Yeah,
There's a whole lot of drama with that.
Yeah, the guy.
I watch a few speedrunner YouTubers. There's a guy named Carl Jobst. Who, I don't know, you might know that one. He just kind of
it's not anything to do with Yogscast, is it?
No. He's an Australian guy. He kind of breaks down the history of speedruns. So he'll take something old like King's Quest and look at how that community built that up. But he's done a few about the drama about that King of Kong and the world record on Donkey Kong, and how the guy's been kind of found out as a fraud, and now he's suing everybody, and how that's going. So I learned lots of little drops of information from that.
I think you've got the same hairdo as the guy. What's his name?
Oh yeah,
I can't remember his bloody name.
I can't remember his name. His is much straighter.
I always forget it. It is, yeah. You need an USA tie.
Yes, and a much trimmer beard.
Yeah,
I need to take care of my appearance, is what we're saying.
He takes care of his appearance too much, though. He looks
does.
a bit like a really sort of shitty action figure.
He looks a lot like if like you get those wooden figures at Christmas, where they like paint the face on.
Oh,
and that's what I'd say he looks like. Not that we're slandering anyone.
I can never remember the guy's name. No, I can never remember.
That's how
I remember
Steve, right?
Steve Weeb. Steve Weeb was the one he went up against. I remember him. Do you know he's an actor now? He's been in a film.
Really?
So it got me thinking, was he acting the whole time?
He was the underdog, right? Steve Weeb.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
That's why we remember him. We don't care about
he was in
the winner.
4 Christmases. It's a Christmas film with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. He was in that as an actor. I'm thinking, oh, this is suspicious. But I think it's ironic that he's in it. He doesn't say anything. And I think there's like a Donkey Kong reference, so it's fine.
Okay, so it's more like a cameo than a...
Yeah. I just wanted to build up some controversy.
I thought he was maybe running the marathon as well. Just like, I'll start off in this little documentary, speedrunning this and getting the highest score on this game. But long term, I could act.
Yeah. I got the impression he wanted to be an actor. I mean, he was a performer, wasn't he? He's playing the keyboard and singing and stuff. Have you ever seen An American Movie? That's a good documentary.
That rings a bell.
About the guy who makes his own film, or I don't know if he ever actually gets around to finishing it.
It rings a bell. I've not seen it.
No. All right.
There's a lot of those.
The only 4 documentaries I've seen.
Okay. I mean, the first documentary that came to mind, the first one I thought was Capturing the Freedmans, which is...
Never watched that. I've heard
it's
of it.
An interesting watch. Yeah. It's about a family, and they start making the documentary about this one of the members of the family who's like a clown. That's his full-time job. He's like a clown, and they're making a thing about clowns and the whole industry and community around clowning. And then it turns out like halfway through that there's like a child sex ring underneath all.
What a surprise.
Not to do with the clowns, just to do with his family, and how in like the 80s or something, or the 70s, there was this huge court case about the Freedmans, and he was obviously a child at the time, was just like, oh yeah, that's my dad.
I'd say the only surprise would be that he didn't murder the children as well.
People are just terrified of clowns. I quite like clowns.
Do you? Do you actually like clowns? Could you watch one and be like,
I could watch a clown and enjoy a clown show. Yeah. That sounds way
You're the only one.
It
It's just you and the clown.
Yeah.
Not even the clown's wife is watching. She doesn't want to watch.
I don't know if I could do it with just me and the clown. I need to be in an audience. You know?
Well, yeah, but you're
You're
the
too
only one
vulnerable.
clapping.
I'm willing to watch a clown, but I don't want to be vulnerable around a clown. They take
Have
advantage
you
of that.
thinking of that? Saying not even the clown's wife is interested. Have you ever met anybody whose partner is interested in what the partner does? Because I haven't.
Yeah, I've met people, but maybe that's because I come from kind of more from the art side, and a lot of artists end up going out with and marrying artists.
Yeah, see that's what I need. That's what I need. I've never met anybody whose partner likes what the partner does.
Really?
When it comes to this kind of stuff.
It is quite niche, though, I would say.
Well, it's not working in a factory, is it?
No.
Steady wage. Get in that factory.
Yeah.
What do they make? We don't know. We don't care. Just get in there.
I guess it depends how you're viewing it. If you're viewing it from kind of the viewpoint of making, miniatures and set pieces and all this kind of stuff, or whether you're viewing it from enjoying media or content creation and creating kind of like, so YouTubers tend to meet other YouTubers, and that's how they end up meeting their significant others down the line. Obviously, that leads to YouTube trying to run clicks.
I've got that to look forward to, have I?
You've got all the big events and the wine parties to go.
Yeah,
separate people at their weddings and whatnot. But whereas, you mentioned like models and whatnot, but you've got obviously a depth of knowledge on horror, and I know quite a few people who are into films and.
You saying that I think I'm more into the performing side with the Twitch and things. That's why I'm trying to bring more of that over. I do prefer the trying to be funny and all the other stuff and the silly voices and things. But I made the models anyway and all this kind of stuff. So I thought I might as well, people want to watch some crafting stuff and then just try and sneak the other stuff in. Whereas the Twitch stuff was all just literally green screen me. And doing all that stuff. This sounds quite egotistical, doesn't it?
No,
quite arrogant.
We're all a little egotistical. You have to be.
Yeah.
To create, you've got to be a little bit ego to think you could do it in the first place.
Well, yeah. 100 viewers. There you go. 100 people watching. That's bigger than some gigs.
Exactly. I mean, I've been doing this since 2017. And I keep doing it because, like you say, you got to enjoy what you do. And I enjoy chatting to people and getting to know people, and they're in different kind of viewpoints and whatnot. And so that's why I keep going. I mean, I got less than 500 subscribers because
do you want?
I just enjoy doing
it. Yeah. I mean, you got your secret job anyway. Well, this is
the day job.
It may pay off one day. There's no harm. I mean, a lot of people have hobbies that will never ever pay off.
Yeah.
Whereas these ones potentially could one day.
Yeah. I mean, if you knew for certain it would never pay off, would you stop doing
YouTube?
Anything like creating, YouTube, performing, modeling, anything like that? Would you stop?
That's a good question. I think I would stop the YouTube if I knew it would never ever pay off, because it's a lot of bloody work.
Yeah,
a lot of work. When I'm not at the shop the 2 days and I have my daughter on the weekends, it's solid filming and sculpting, and I don't get a chance to do anything I want. You saying you don't like painting miniatures? I enjoy painting miniatures. It's just I don't have time. I've got boxes of Lord of the Rings miniatures here that I'm desperate to paint, and I've only ever painted one troll because I've just not had the time. And I think the only reason I got that done was because I was ill for a couple of weeks. So yes, I definitely would. If I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, I probably would stop. But then I might do the streams, just because you do get that adrenaline, and and I think I enjoyed that more when I wasn't relying on the income, because it was an all right income most months. I mean, it was up and down, but the reason I stopped was there was a lot of you ever heard the phrase parasocial relationship? Yeah, there was a lot of that, and it seems to be a lot worse with Twitch because you're constantly engaging with everybody in like one-to-one sort of real-time conversations. I think people forget that there's another 99 people there and that you're just talking to them. So I'd get a lot of people message me which I don't want to be rude and ignore them all, but I'm not much of a messenger. I don't text people or anything. So I get a lot of people sort of messaging me, sort of talking to me like, hey friend, and all this sort of stuff. And I'll be as kind, as nice as possible. But then it would never be enough for a lot of people. They'd want more and more. And then they'll get angry and leave. And then you can't help but take that personally. And people say, well, don't take it personally, but you can't help it. And then it just grinds you down. And that's why I stopped doing Twitch.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason I don't think I could do something like Twitch, because I mean obviously this is a very controlled environment. You know, I invite who I want to invite. When I put work up online, I'll communicate with comments and stuff. But if someone's too involved, I tend to avoid them, because I'm just not that kind of person. And people do forget that you're a person, and you know you have a life. So yeah, I definitely could see that being something which would lean you away from it.
Yeah.
But I think the key with anything like you're saying, like if you would stop if it wouldn't go anywhere, is trying to find those little bits which you do enjoy while you're doing it, to keep going with it.
I think when it comes to the YouTube stuff, I don't necessarily enjoy filming it. Oh, I don't know. That's the work bit. That's the work filming it. But I like coming up with ideas and thinking, oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be funny. I'm going to like seeing it, not necessarily like making it. And then you always get that as soon as the video goes live, you're checking constantly. The endorphins are going. And then after an hour, you think, oh, fuck, I got to start it again. Start a whole new video again for the next 2 weeks.
It doesn't have the instant feedback that a live show has. Creating
that's what people say that as well. Yeah. So it's hard to know if people are enjoying it. And there was points when you're doing streams thinking, well, you enjoying it? And they'd be like, yeah, no, well, fucking write LOL then. I can't hear you.
See, there's one thing we want to put me like this will go on YouTube, and there's a phrase which I hate on YouTube, which you see on every YouTube video, which is like and comment and subscribe, and it's almost a necessity to say, because like you say, people do forget to do that. Whereas I every time I say it, or I kind of feel myself edging towards it, I hate myself a little bit, because I know I'm just trying to feed that endorphin rush of like, oh well, someone's engaging with it, they're really enjoying it. And
well, I've made it one word. I made like and subscribe. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen
there you go. And at least I can kind of pass it off as a joke there and feel less guilty as I say it. But yeah, I hated saying it. But then everybody was saying to me, you got to say it. It's the same thing with thumbnails as well. A lot of surprised faces. They do well. It does work. And if you do the flavor of the month, like when Wednesday come out, everybody was sculpting Wednesday Addams or thing or whatever. And I can't do that. And I'd be a lot better off if I had my face on the thumbnail and constantly repeated like and subscribe and all that stuff, and did what was popular that month. But I can't. So I'm just going to rely on the steady few that watch, and hopefully that will grow. Well, I don't know if you heard of Social Blade. You heard of Social?
No, I haven't.
Yes. Well, you put your details in and it predicts where you're going to be in 5 years.
Oh, really? I'll still be here. This is where I'll be in 5 years.
Apparently, I'm going to have 500,000 subscribers, so I'm all right.
I mean, you'll be doing fine. I could see that. I mean, like you say, you know, as much as it is, you know, you don't want to pander to an algorithm. You know. I mean, you built an algorithm, so that counts. But you don't want to pander to that, and you don't want to get involved with that. I think there is an extreme value in just staying in your niche and just staying in what you want to make, because you get an audience who is more invested in what you're making as well.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, they're there because that's what they like.
Yeah.
Whereas clickbait is just anybody will click that, and they'll never come back. They'll never like and subscribe and stuff. Although some of them do, but you know, you want those that are invested and that care and like this stuff.
They value what you create, and therefore they value you and your work, and probably buy something. You know, down the line. That's the other side of it. I think anyone can make a reaction video, but convincing someone to purchase something you created, that's hard to do.
I think in 5 years' time, I should come back on if you're doing this in 5 years with my 500,000 subs, and I'll plug the shit out of you.
You'll be my raid of just I mean, I think that's a great point to kind of round this out on. I only have one more question for the day. So it's something I've been asking of guests every time this year. Is who should I speak to next?
I would suggest Ashens. I could probably get you hooked up.
You think?
Yeah. He does like to help people out. He's a very generous person. He likes, and he's a very popular YouTuber. I mean, a lot of people have heard of him.
Aware of him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's enough. That's I could ask Ashens if you'd like.
I would appreciate you asking questions. I will tag him in this clip on the various socials as well, so he should see. But yeah, I'm happy to have a guest on.
Well, I'll ask him. He's done it before for other people, and he likes to help out. So, and he's a lovely man.
Lovely
Man.
That's the tagline for YouTube now. It's just a lovely man.
Yes.
I would definitely have you back then. It's been great to chat to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully it's not been too painful.
No, you know, I was a bit nervous. I'm not, because sometimes I've been invited on another podcast and I've heard the guys' podcasts. I'm not going to name any names.
No.
I don't want to seem like a complete shit, but it very stilted, stilted. Like there's no back and forth. And I was worried that this might be like that, but it hasn't been. It's been an absolute joy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had my previous guest on, told me that the vibe she got from me was just very calm and consistent, and that's nice to have. And that's what I aim for.
You know what you're good at? Filling the silence.
Filling the gap.
You never let it go silent. That's what you want. That's good.
You got to yell at the concrete. That's
it. Yeah,
that's how you get.
I mean, I'm telling you, your job. You know what you're doing, but yeah, it's just a good thing.
Do I know what I'm doing?
How many of these have you done?
This is be 200 and something.
Bloody hell!
I just say I've been doing it since 2017. I produce 3 episodes a month. I do individual ones where it's just me waxing lyrical on a topic, and then other times I get guests in, and we just keep going.
I'm not going to promise you that I'll listen to them all, but I'll listen to some.
I have no idea how long it would take you to listen to them all. I don't know if YouTube will give me that data. But it's definitely worth going back because, as I say, what I was saying to you before was, guest picks the topic. We chat about whatever you want to chat about. So
Well, it's been good.
Lovely. All right. Well, it's been great to have you on. I will obviously link out to everything you do so that people can catch up to you. And
thank you. Come
to your sweet shop and whatnot. And,
no, I don't come to the sweet shop. It will not reflect well on me.
No, and that's that parasocial thing again, which is a bit too much involved in life. But we will.
I have had people turn up at the sweet shop.
Oh, really?
And they gave me like an in-person tip, like £10. Felt really weird that it put everything in perspective when someone actually hands you £10. You're like, this is tantamount to begging, and it kind of put everything in perspective.
Yeah, that's a bit much. It's a bit too involved.
I mean, I took it.
Don't do that. This is give Dan your money, but do it through Patreon. And,
yes.
All right. On that note, we will talk to these guys later. Thanks very much, Dan.
Thank you. See you.